Hi, everybody. Good evening. We'll just wait a little bit and let everybody get into the Zoom with us. I see everyone is still joining, so glad to see everybody was able to come out and hear about five-star auctions on this hot July summer evening. I don't know where everybody is, but I assume where most of you all are, it's probably as hot as where I am. So I see people still joining here. All right. We'll just wait another moment. Per usual, I will answer any questions that everybody has at the end. We'll have time for Q&A. So definitely put any questions you have into the chat box. And also, just to start, I'm curious to know what type of businesses you guys have. So who do we have here this evening? Are you a move manager? Are you a reseller? Are you an appraiser or a realtor or an organizer? Feel free to put into the chat what you do, what your business is. Feel free to put the name of your business in as well if you'd like. It would be great to see who's here with us right now. See if anybody has put anything in. Karen is here and she is an organizer. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Karen. We still have people joining, so oh, hi Frank. Yep, property management, Brad, moving company and consignment store, and Anne, of course, solopreneur, Sharp Space, professional organizer in NAPO, New England. I know you, Anne. And Trish, Happy Nest, welcome, organizer and downsizer. It's great to see a nice mix of different types of professionals here this evening. Heather Powers, yep, professional organizer and appraiser from my neck of the woods down in South Carolina. Janelle, yep, senior move management. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing this here in the chat. Today we're going to talk about running a five-star online auction, particularly with Maxsold. So I think most of us have already joined, so I'm going to get rolling. So here's what I'm going to touch on today. Why Maxsold? The opportunity for the partners. You guys, we consider you guys partners. So we'll touch on the opportunity, what makes a five-star auction. We'll talk a bit about vetting clients for auction success. I know some of you are excellent at this already. And some of you have asked some questions about this. So hopefully we can share some insights and tips. So we'll talk about, towards the end, a little bit about local marketing to boost bids, some of the grassroots marketing that I have done for my organizing clients when I run Maxsold sales, and what some of our other partners do on their end. And then we'll talk a bit about getting started and answer questions. Okay, so what do we do? Most of you guys know what Maxsold does, but for anybody who doesn't know, anybody who's new here, we are a platform to help sell a volume of items, and we can help get those items sold quickly and efficiently. So Maxsold is an online auction platform. We are a fantastic resource for you if you need to run an estate sale or an estate clear out, or just have a volume of items from a downsizing project, or if you're a reseller and you have an inventory of items that you need a good, reliable, consistent platform to run those through. Our process is simple. It could be as quick as 2 weeks is how fast you could complete everything for your client. But as a partner, you do get to control the timeline, so you can take your time if you need to. And of course, we have a platform that is able to accommodate a very, very high sell-through rate. And what that means is 90 to 95% of items in our sales do get sold and rehomed. So your clients are left with very little in the end, if anything, to tackle and navigate. How we do it? Well, we have a few stages in the process. So the beginning is called cataloging or photography, where you're capturing all the photos and info about the items to be sold, and we call those auction lots. Then once you've captured everything and submitted it to us, we will run the online auction for your client or you. So that auction is usually live for about a week. Some regions we run it a little longer, maybe 10 days, just depends on where you are. We are advertising for you, and we are managing communications with the bidders. At the end, we are collecting payments, processing payments. We, at the end, share a report of everything that's sold and what it's sold for, who each buyer is, confirmation they've paid, and then that report is then used to supervise one day, the pickup day event, when our buyers come to retrieve the items they purchased. So it's really a three-step process: cataloging, running the online auction event, and then the pickup day. So real quick, I'm going to pause here for a minute. The first thing I'm going to do is share with everybody the first code word for anybody that wants to collect a CEU eligible certificate from us. There'll be 3 code words tonight. The first one is SELL, S-E-L-L, SELL, and I can put it in the chat. And while I'm doing that, we're going to run a quick poll. So we'll put the poll up on the screen. I'm curious to know how you sell for your clients, if you have sold for your clients in the past. Have you sold on Facebook or social media? Have you run an estate sale or a garage sale? Have you referred to a third-party company to do it? Or have you never had a client who needs to sell items? So feel free to answer that, and it'll be interesting to see the mix of what people have experienced. I know some of you may have done more than one of these things. I guess choose the thing you do most often. And then we'll share the results in just a moment. And again, the first code word for those of you using this for CEU credit is SELL, S-E-L-L. How do you sell your items? Okay. We'll give everybody just a couple more seconds to answer that poll, and then share the results. Now, do we have the results? I don't know if it's going to share it automatically or... there we are. Okay. Okay, yep. A lot of people have been on Facebook Marketplace helping sell for their clients and other sites. Feel free to put other sites, social media sites in the chat. I'm curious to know what you guys are using. Interesting that a fair amount of you have run your own estate sale or garage sale. And then about half of you just refer out to a third party. And some of us here have never had to sell an item for a client. I am sure at some point you will, so it's good you're here this evening. So for those of you that refer out to a third party, and I'm guessing you do that because the idea of being a service that sells items is perhaps daunting and overwhelming to consider on top of everything else you do, I have good news for you. Maxsold has mastered a way to still be the selling service for your clients, but create two services that you can offer your clients, billable services to add to your toolkit of services that you bring to the table for your clients and with your business. These two services are basically inventorying and project management. If you can inventory, if you can use our AI integrated app to collect photographs of what your clients need to sell, and then at the very end, project manage a pickup day where you don't ever have to collect a payment. You know exactly who's coming and what they're coming for ahead of time. You're not asked to pack, ship, or move anything. But if you can manage that day at the end and inventory at the beginning, Maxsold is going to do everything else. We're going to be the selling vehicle for your client. We're going to host that sale and bring in the buyers and advertise it and cashier it and collect the payments. We'll even pay out your client at the end. So truly what we have developed for our partners are two services that you can offer to your clients at the beginning and the end of an online auction project that will allow them to sell whatever it is really that they need to sell. So let's dig into a 5-star auction. A 5-star auction has 3 components: volume, variety, and value. And I'm going to talk about these a little bit. So we want to have enough to have a sale, enough stuff, enough things. We at Maxsold and in the auction industry use a term called lots, auction lots. And a lot, an auction lot, can be one item, or it could be a bundle or group of items. What we're thinking about is the overall value of what goes into an auction lot. So for instance, a KitchenAid mixer or a snow blower or a Persian rug or an original piece of art, a painting, probably has enough standalone value to be its own auction lot. But then there are items in the home like, let's say your client had a hobby of sewing and has crafting and sewing supplies all over, and you bundle them up and get them all together, and you make that big bundle one auction lot, because just one little pattern book or a pair of knitting needles on their own wouldn't make sense value-wise to put alone. So that's just a little real quick synopsis of what we mean when we talk about auction lots. So you want to make sure there's enough volume, enough auction lots in a home to have a 5-star sale. Could you have a sale with only 50 auction lots? Yeah, absolutely, your client could. But for a 5-star sale, I would push to closer to 150 auction lots at best, just to add that volume, which brings interest into your sale. The next thing is variety. You cannot be too eclectic. So think about estate sales, right? Estate sales have everything from garage tools to kitchenwares to costume jewelry to patio furniture to sewing supplies, to you name it, whatever you find in a house. So the more variety, the better, because the more variety you have, the more variety of people are going to click and view the sale. And just like everything on the internet today, it's all about how many clicks and views can you get? How can you drive the traffic to your sale, to your online event? And having variety is one of the key ways to really push the clicks, views, and traffic to your sale. Because what that does in the end, the more traffic you get means the more competitive bidding you get at the end, which means the higher your realized prices are for everything at the end. Finally, value, the third V. So value means encouraging your client, if they're able to, and if they have these items to sell, to include the items of value in the sale with everything else. So if they have a vehicle to sell, including the vehicle in the sale is going to increase the traffic to your sale exponentially. If your client has a sterling silver flatware set and they're thinking of scrapping it or bringing it to the scrapper, data testing has shown that when you include the sterling silver flatware set in an online auction, you exponentially increase the traffic that comes to the sale. Other examples would be jewelry, but it could also be, items you might not think of, like trendy and collectible items, which I'll talk a little bit about in just a moment. So I'm going to run another poll right now. We'll just stop briefly, and I will share the second code word for tonight, which is service, and I will put it in the chat box. The poll is asking, what kinds of items do your clients typically need to sell? If you're working with clients from time to time that need to sell items, what do you see the most? Is it furniture, antiques and collectibles, tools in the garage, household and kitchenware? Is it clothing and jewelry? And if it is something that's not on this list, I'd love you to put it in the chat box and share with us. And I will put service, the second code word, here in the chat box now. So we'll just wait a moment and let everybody answer the poll. And to be honest, I see it all when I'm on site. We probably should have had an option for all of the above. Oh, Suzanne. Hi, Suzanne. Okay, ham radios, equipment, stained glass. And yes, China, Janelle, absolutely. People are always trying to find a solution right now for China. Okay. Furniture, got the big, oh, okay, collectibles. That's good. That's fun. That makes it a little more fun. But yes, there are so many people right now looking for a solution for furniture out there. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about vetting our clients, and I will dig into in just a moment some of the things to know about the kinds of items that your clients typically want to sell. And I'll touch on a few of those categories that were in that poll. Now, I know probably some of you are excellent already at vetting clients for a sale, but I know also some of you have some questions about it and how to know whether or not it's a good fit for your client to be engaging in an online auction or running a sale. So let's have a look at the things that we want to assess, what could be red flags, how to set expectations. So when we're assessing a sale, a potential sale, we want to keep those 3 V's in mind, right? We want to think about, do they have a lot here? Do they have a lot of things? Do they have a lot of items? Does it look like it could really be a decent volume of auction lots to bring into the sale? If it's a downsizing project and they are keeping a portion of their items, what percentage of the household items are they keeping? Can you kind of guesstimate or estimate the percentage there that they're keeping and leaving behind? That can kind of give a hint to the volume that you might have. Eventually, you kind of learn how to walk through a home and count auction lots. And some of our partners that have been doing this for years have that kind of under their belt. And if you are ever brand new and you need help kind of assessing whether or not there's enough in a home to run a sale, we're always happy to help you with that here also at Maxsold. There's a number of ways that we can support you. You can send photos. The best ones are those wide room panel shots that give us an idea of everything in the room. You could send a video. And then, of course, I will get on a virtual walkthrough call with partners as well if you need. So you can always connect with me and I can help with that. Some of the red flags that we want to keep in mind, though, are if your client has already had a sale and now they're left with maybe the items that couldn't sell in the tag sale that they ran on their own, or the items that the guy who came in to offer them money for things in the house didn't want. And if you're left with just those items, you might have enough to run an online auction, is very possible, but the client may have diluted some of the value of that sale. So it is good to keep that in mind and understand. So we know, referencing furniture, that some furniture is hard to sell today. So we still see that big, dark hardwood pieces from the 80s and the 90s, like those big armoires and TV armoire cabinets and big buffets and sideboards and dining room sets. They are still flooded in the market. There are a lot of people trying to unload them into the market and not much interest in them. A lot of the donation centers won't take them. So you can include those items absolutely in an online auction, in a Maxsold sale. But we have found that in order to get those items sold and rehomed effectively to contribute to that high sell-through rate, it's really important to build out that sale with variety and some items of value. Because in order to get those items that are harder to sell, sold and rehomed, you want the traffic coming in to see them. So in order to get the clicks and the views and the traffic to come in and see those items, you need the exciting, kind of tantalizing items in the mix so that it drives the people in. So they might see the sterling silver flatware set and click in and say, oh, okay, well, there is that sideboard over there, and we could take that home and repurpose it, and we could bid on it. But they might not have ever clicked in if they didn't click in for the interesting item. I hope that's making sense. If it isn't, ask me questions in the chat and I can kind of elaborate more later. So keeping that in mind, I'm trying to think of what the other red flags could be. Seller expectations are very important. If you have a seller who, let's say, has an upright piano and has an expectation of high return, a high realized price, that pianos just aren't fetching today, and it's because they have emotional value invested in the item, then it's important to have that conversation with them so that they understand what to expect when that item sells for what it actually is worth. Now, here at Maxsold, we can support and help with that. We're able to share past sold prices on items, and that can help set expectations for harder to sell items like pianos. But even if it's an item that, let's say, they think is worth quite a bit, and it is worth quite a bit, and they're nervous about putting it on the platform, we can go into archives on our end and show them how successful we've been with those items and what they've sold for. So definitely bring to us client expectations. That will help in the vetting process, and it will help in the process of preparing your client for a successful, happy sale as well. Suzanne's question is, can you share past sold pricing from a specific region? I think we can. I know that I can find past sold pricing for specific items. I'm not 100% sure if we can find it in specific region. Cesar, I don't know if you know. I know you're here on the back end. Maybe, Cesar, you can put in the chat an answer for that question. But I can certainly find out for you if we're not sure this evening. One cool thing about our new AI integrated app is that when you choose our smart cataloging feature, and let's say you have a KitchenAid mixer and that's the auction lot, and you've got your 3 photos and you click smart catalog, so it'll auto populate your title and your description for you. It will also pop up on the screen 2 or 3 KitchenAid mixers we've sold and what they've sold for, so that you can help set expectations for your client that way. So let's talk a bit about items to look for. So when you're in the home, you're vetting a client, you're vetting a sale with your client. Do they have things that would be interesting for a sale? That's always something people wonder, right? Do they have stuff that would make a cool, fun, interesting sale? Would it be worth having a sale? So there's three key things that I keep in mind when I'm on site. Things that are nostalgic, things that are rare, and precious metals, silver, gold, jewelry, coins, sterling silver, flatware. So kind of educating yourself around these three categories is going to be helpful. And of course, at Maxsold, we can support and help with that as well. So again, if you're wondering about some items, you want to send over some pictures, or send us a video, or get on a Zoom call, we're happy to do that. But we have found that in the resale market in general, when items are nostalgic, like old Lionel trains, right? Some of the people out there remember playing with them as children and will pay quite a bit of money for them today because it's nostalgic to them. Other items are rarities, things that are hard to find in the market. So one of the reasons why Pyrex has been so popular and trendy is because Pyrex is glass and it's like 75 years old, and a lot of it is broken over the ages. So to find a complete primary set is unique and unusual. So to find that is rare. So if we see that in somebody's home and they no longer want it and they're downsizing, that's a fun, enticing thing to put in a sale. So this little clip, this picture here under rarities that shows part of a roulette wheel, was actually in a sale I ran for a client in Denver. It was a massive estate, and we had to run 3 massive sales, and we found out in the garage this old 1930s, almost mint condition roulette wheel in the original box. And I think this thing sold for almost over $1,500. Which we had no idea it would sell for that much. I thought maybe it would sell for a few $100 maybe, but it did. It went so high. The realized price was incredible. And at the end of the day, it was because it was rare. It's something that you can't find. It's something you don't see a lot. So rarity can show up in the most unexpected places in a home, and it can show up under any of those item categories. So keeping that in mind, does your client have something that you think is unique? Does your client have items that would be nostalgic to people? And then the silver and gold, finally, I always tell everybody whenever I do a presentation and we touch on items in a home, almost every estate has costume jewelry. And often most downsizing projects have some jewelry. They're just like, I don't want this, let's find a solution for it. I have never, ever rummaged through a box of costume jewelry for a client and not found sterling or gold in the mix. They just don't know the marks. So they don't know exactly when they have their gold and sterling in the mix. So to familiarize yourself with the marks of sterling silver and of gold is really key when you're in a home and helping your clients downsize. We do have another webinar in our archives that we can share with you guys that cover all of that and talk about the marks. But just wanted to bring it up here because if you have sterling, silver, and gold in the mix, those are always going to be enticing items in your sale and will always bring traffic to your sale and will help vet a successful sale. So I'm sharing some of the fun treasures and rarities here that you could keep an eye out for when vetting your clients for a sale. Corningware is becoming as trendy as Pyrex right now. Actually, believe it or not, that surprised me a few months ago, but it really truly is. Costume jewelry. And then again, understanding sterling silver, distinguishing it from plate. There are ways to do that, and we're happy to help support you with that here as best you can. But yeah, it is a good idea to get a little bit familiar with that concept of understanding the difference between the two. Silver plated items, like a wash of silver on metal, that is flooded in the market. There's a lot of it out there. It doesn't sell for very much. But if you have a pure sterling silver piece or set, then that could sell for a fair amount. And then items, here's some reasons why items could be harder to sell. So condition, that's an obvious one, right? If you've got something that's broken and damaged and stained, you're gonna want to probably, oh, that's funny. The flooded in the market's supposed to be above the picture with the platters. Sorry, guys. And the condition should be above the cat scratching the couch. Condition, if the cat scratches the couch, disclose that in your listing. Disclose. But yes, condition could make something hard to sell. So you want to assess has it unfortunately become disposal? So you need to know that. Flooded in the market, that should be the heading over the little platters and plates here. China, crystal glassware, and silver plated items are really flooded in the market. There's just a lot of it being unloaded, particularly by older generations and estates that are coming out, and there's not a lot of demand for it, and there's so much of it out there. So while you can include it in a sale, you want to have some enticing items in the sale to try and get those harder to sell items rehomed. And then of course, things that are not trending. So the big thing that's not trending, of course, is that big dark furniture. It's still not trending. I am starting to see a little bit of an upswing with hutches here and there. People are starting to seek them out. Hopefully that upswing continues and they continue to perform better and better. But for the most part, the bigger the piece of furniture, it can be, the harder it can be to sell. So just so that you know when you're setting your expectations with your clients. And so finally, here, I wanted to talk a bit about local marketing tips. Now, I know I touch on in the list here, Facebook buy and sell groups, nextdoor.com, QR code flyers, tapping into your local networks, and then what Maxsold already does. Just to touch on the bottom, what Maxsold already does is quite a bit. So Maxsold is absolutely 100% marketing your sales. We send an email blast out when the sale is in the beginning. We send an email blast out before the sale ends. We are putting it on Facebook. We are putting it on estatesales.org. We're putting it on Craigslist and Kijiji. So we're getting it on all the platforms for you guys. We are, and if you do have a very unique, fun sale, like about a year ago, I worked with an organizer that had an amazing big vinyl record collection, all the best records, incredible lifetime collection. And we were able to put a little blog together that she helped write with us and put that out on Maxsold social media. So don't be shy. You know, if you're working with a customer success account manager already and you think you have something really cool coming up, talk to them about that. We're always excited to do something creative with our partners if there's something exciting and unique about your sale that's coming up. But yes, Maxsold does quite a bit of marketing, but I, as an organizer, and I know many partners, do some grassroots marketing of their own. And so I'm just going to touch on a little bit of what I do and some of the other partners do that may be helpful to you to keep in mind, keep in your back pocket, and maybe engage when you're running a sale for a client. The first one is buy and sell groups. I highly suggest trying to join the local buy and sell groups in your town or county or area or city, because when you have a Maxsold sale go live for a client, they're going to want to know about it. And if you post in the buy and sell groups a link to your sale, you will get some traffic from those groups. They will be interested. I have actually gone in and I use my own, I don't use a business account. I'm just Heather Dawson, and I go on and I'm like, hey, it's me, Heather. I have a sale that's being run. It's live for a week. Check it out. You know, it's on the maxsold.com website, and I put it in the groups. And then if they have questions, they'll message you. I also create an item, sell your item listing. I go and I create a listing on Facebook, and the listing is live auction now, and the price is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I put, 10 photos of the coolest things in the sale up, and I might make one of those photos a QR code that takes them to my live sale. And I may put a little blurb in the description. And then the cool thing at the end of creating that little sell your item listing, I can plug it into up to 20 buy and sell groups in my area. So I always do that for my organizing clients when I run a Maxsold sale for them. I don't know if any of you are familiar with nextdoor.com. That's another cool site to join. And you can post your live sale on there. And if it's not in your neighborhood, you would have to have your client be a member of nextdoor.com. They'd have to post it on their Nextdoor. That's just how that works. Nextdoor is really strict about who they let join, and they'll only let people in the neighborhood join. So it would have to be somebody in the neighborhood who posts it. Another thing that you can do for a little grassroots advertising of your sale are make QR code flyers. I've done this before. I've had curious neighbors who want to know when the estate is going live. They knew the person that lived there. They want to know what's going on. They're curious about what's happening with the things inside the house. And so I just make little flyers and I give it to them, before the sale goes live, saying, hey, yeah, we're running this estate sale for Mr. Jones's estate, and here's the QR code that will take you to the live auction link. We'd love you to check it out. The family would love you to bid on items. So I've done that and just given it to the neighbors, popped it in their mailboxes. And how do you make QR codes, Suzanne? It's not too hard. There are free ways to make QR codes online, and we can help you with that. So yeah, we can help you navigate that and show you how to do it. I think you can even make them on Canva for free, pretty sure. And then the last thing on here is tapping into client and local networks. So for those of you partners that might have sold other ways in the past and already have a following, or have a following for who knows what in the area, tapping into those networks that you already have and letting them know and sharing the sale link is really a great idea. I actually kind of keep a following of my own here where I am, where, I know who the local antique ball resellers are, and I know who the little consignment stores in the area are, and I let them all know that they should be bidding on our sale that's live now. So I send out my own little email in addition to the big blast that Maxsold sends out. So those are just a few little tips and ideas for you guys. Okay. So now I'm going to talk about a few ways to partner with Maxsold. And these are very specific to our partners that run Maxsold sales for clients. Some of these ways to partner with us might not be very relevant to a reseller, because you guys, the nature of what you do is a little bit different. But for our organizers and realtors and estate sale companies that are running sales on behalf of clients, please know that at the bottom, when you run an auction, when you run a partner managed auction, we are going to do a revenue share with you. So we're going to share a portion of what Maxsold makes, and it's 20% of Maxsold's proceeds. So for instance, if you have a $10,000 sale and Maxsold takes 30%, that means that Maxsold has made $3,000. We will share 20% of that $3,000, and that is $600. So it's like a referral bonus that we would send you for running a partner managed sale. That would be in addition to whatever your billable hours are for the services you offer your clients that you've invoiced them. Now, if any of you were to refer a client and aren't able to run the sale, a lot of our realtors are only referral partners, and that's okay. We will still do a revenue share with you. It won't be 20%, but it will be 10%. And then finally, we are actively seeking partners that would like to take on referrals from us. So we do get calls all week long from sellers that need help to run a Maxsold sale. And there are various reasons for that. It could be that it's an estate and the family that calls is in another province or state, and they're just not where their parents' home is, and they need somebody that can go in and run a Maxsold sale. It could be that it's an elderly client and they just don't have the ability to do that, to inventory and take photos and run a pickup day, and they need a professional to come in and help them do that and provide that service. So yes, we do have Maxsold managed teams in some locations, but not everywhere. And we are really focused on rigorously building out our partnerships with those professionals that are running these partner managed sales and sending that business to you. So we want to send that business to you. So if you are interested in being one of our go-to people in your region, connect with me or your customer success account manager so that we have noted and know to keep you in mind. So my contact information is right here. Please feel free to email me. That's my direct line, the 470 number at the bottom. I'm always happy to set up a one-on-one meeting to further discuss. And of course, if you already have a customer success account manager that you're working with and you have ideas or questions that you want to discuss one-on-one, please reach out to them. They're there for you. They're there to support you and help grow and develop the business and partnership that you have with Maxsold. And if you have any questions, this is the time. I am happy to answer them. I don't think I see very many though. I think the only question is about QR codes. Thanks, Frank. All right, I'm going to give you guys your last code word, and it is partner, and I will put it in the chat box. So third code word is partner. Partner. So the code words were sell, service, and partner today. Feel free to email me if you need a certificate. We can get those to you. And if nobody has questions, then thank you for, you mentioned adding a big piece of furniture to another item. I would think that would deter them from bidding on an item if there's a big piece of furniture that they or nobody wants. Yes, Janelle, that's right. You do not want to add a big piece of furniture to another item. I would not suggest adding a big piece of furniture to another item. In fact, we often separate the dining room chairs from the dining room table because we might get a better price for the chairs than we would have gotten for the table or chairs together. Yep, good point. The words for certification, I will say them one more time: sell, service, and partner. The words are, and I'll type them in the chat real quick: sell, service, partner. There you go. Okay, and if that's it, then we're done. Thanks, guys. Oh, any other tricks? Okay, now we've got some questions. All right, Sarah, any other tricks like separating the DR furniture? What are the DR furniture? I'm not sure. Oh, dining room. Okay, yeah, so bedrooms. Okay, I can real quick tell you guys. Bedrooms and dining rooms, don't sell them as big sets. Separate them, break them out. Put the nightstands together as one auction lot. Put the bed as an auction lot. Put the dresser as an auction lot. Put the sideboard as its own auction lot. Put the table as its own auction lot. Yeah, break those things out. Yeah. Any more questions? Oh, what's certification? Alex, there are some people here that are members of organizations that get CEU credit for attending webinars, like professional organizers and senior move managers, sometimes realtors, I think. And we have certificates of attendance that we give. If you submit those 3 code words to us via email, we'll send you a certificate that proves that you attended the webinar. One more. Okay, what's the ideal number of lots per auction? Well, I love to run an auction that has around 200 auction lots. That's my favorite. It's not too much, but it's a lot, still a lot, and enough to cause people to, you know, be curious because there's a lot of stuff there to kind of discover in the mix. So I like 200 auction lots. What about game of themed goblets, 2 of sets of 6, sell separately or together? Game of Thrones goblets. Oh, and send a picture in to your customer success account manager or to seller support maybe, and we can advise you. $750 each. Yeah, send some pictures in so we all can have a look at it and then give you some advice that way. What do you think, Cesar? I'm thinking send in photos and we can let her know. I don't know if Cesar has any ideas. Yeah, he says yes. Send in some pictures. Yeah, and send us some pictures and we'll let you know what we think would be the best way to lot those. What about breaking 100,000 in an auction? I've seen sellers pulling off a massive auction sale on Maxsold. Absolutely. Any ideas for getting to 100K? So that's a 5-star auction. Yeah, you want to have volume, variety, and value. You want to have, you know, I would say 150 to 200 auction lots with a good variety of things. And if you can't have a good variety of things, make sure you've got value in the mix. I mean, here's the thing, you know, a Mercedes-Benz is going to sell just as well on Maxsold as it does down the street. The people that want the Mercedes-Benz are going to bid against each other and bid that item up to fair market value or beyond. And it's the same way with anything of value. Put the value, bring the value to the table, and we'll bring the people that are going to bid on the item to the table. Oh, and I'm excited to see the sale. That sounds awesome. How do you do the cars in an auction? We include cars in the auction. So you want to be very thorough. You want to, on description, have lots of photos. You could submit a video. Make sure you disclose whether it's running. You need a clear title, all the basic things. And if you have a car to sell, then let us know because we will help and work with you so that it is successful. How many 100K auctions so far? I do not know. I'm sure there's a way to find out, but I do not know how many we've had. The pilot purses authentication service is there an email to send the photos or send to our success team partner? Yes, reach out to your customer success account manager about that pilot, about the authentication. Okay, Cesar said 6 to 8 that are over 100K so far this year. So that's not bad for, that's more than 1 a month. So that's good. Any other questions? I think, yeah, thank you guys. Have a great evening. I think that's it.